Oh, yes, update. Okay. There's an update to the Joe Rogan, CNN video clip conspiracy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because we talked about it the other day, and, I was going back and forth. I was going upside down on this topic, trying to think, how could this have happened? What's going on? How can it look so strange, what they posted versus the original clip? And, of course, the comment section, and since there was so much back and forth that it was already going on between CNN and Rogan, and there seemed to be some animosity or some questions around lying and so forth. It was easy to jump to conclusions. It was also easy, I think, for people to assume that there could be intent here. However, being having a lot of experience with different smartphones, and particularly with iPhones, and the aggressiveness of the HDR on the front-facing camera that I was aware of, I started in that original clip to look at the bottom clip and say, okay, there's already funky stuff going on.
Sure.
Right? And like I could just tell the way it was attempting to flatten his face a little bit and bring down the highlight in the area. I could kind of spot it. So I was like, okay, so what? He shot it on an iPhone, or he shot it with the automatic HDR. But I had seen a couple of comments on the video saying, hey, this was like a technical thing to do with whoever and however the video was ripped from Instagram. So apparently what happened, and again, this is according, you can go on Reddit, just go ahead and type this in right now. Type in Joe Rogan, CNN, and filter, and Instagram. What appears to have taken place, according to this variety of threads and everyone who's talked about it here, what seems to have happened is that actually Instagram applied the filter, because Instagram did not know or has been struggling with dealing with HDR content. And there's a GIF that I saw that was showcasing how actually that filter had been applied and existed on Instagram for a period of time before Instagram removed the filter.
Is it this one?
Now, yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of these threads. You'll see about it. What does this change about the story? Well, it changes quite a bit, because it means that, okay, couple things here. First of all, you could look at Instagram and say, hey, why is Instagram applying filters to HDR content in the first place? And what kind of incentive might there be there? Or is it just strictly technical, which is probably the case? But does that completely absolve CNN of the responsibility of attempting to fix the color once they've downloaded and said, hey, this looks a little off and not like the original? Or does anyone at CNN even know that there's an original that looks different, because the time at which they went to download the clip from Instagram, it just looked like that, and they just assumed, okay, that's what it looks like?
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the CNN footage, if you weren't kind of seeing it side by side, or you're just watching it on the TV, it looks normal, right?
Well, it obviously, it looks acceptable, I would say.
Acceptable.
If you were to show it to me exclusively, I'd be like, he does look a little off.
You think so?
Color balance, yeah, for sure.
But if you're watching it on a TV that probably has some sort of boost in saturation, you probably didn't even think nothing of it. Because TVs are known to do that, right? Just boost the saturation.
Just me, the way I look at this stuff,
Okay,
I'd be
fine.
saying this looks like an HDR problem, right? Which was my initial instinct. But when Joe posted the clip of the two of them side by side, then it was obvious how different it was. And then I also wondered, okay, Joe knows what the original clip looked like. And if you go back to his page on Instagram, it will look like the bottom, because in the meantime, apparently, Instagram removed whatever filter attempted to be automatically applied.
Right.
Instagram itself knew something was off, I guess. Or distributed some sort of a fix for how it was treating HDR content from the iPhone. So there's a real iPhone story here and technology story here about the interaction between our devices and social media and decisions that are being made on our behalf in an attempt to enhance things like our skin at the point of the photo taking place, which, of course, I've done videos on in the past about how different people show up differently. And like in my face, it looks like I'm sort of wearing makeup and you can't fully turn it off on iPhone. And then our social media platforms attempting that on their own to enhance things in ways that we might not also even want or like. So there's the original. And you'll see it looks okay now. But if you just go back to Reddit for a quick second, I know I'm getting all fired up here, but I knew something weird was going on. And go back, go down, scroll down to the actual commentary here. There's a reasonable explanation. So click on that. And this is probably the thread which I was reading here. Notice how quickly the color changes when I press play. Do that link at the very top there. There you go.
This one?
Yep. So this is the difference between how the clip is supposed to look or looked on his phone versus what Instagram did to it. And that is what CNN ended up publishing. Now, you could argue that CNN has some sort of responsibility to try to color correct it, but watch. This was the original filter that took place on Instagram according to this variety of clips that people were able to screen capture. And I've seen GIFs showcasing the same thing, and it's from multiple people. That the first frame looks okay, and then some sort of processing or filter kicks in that creates this bizarre green hue in an attempt to deal with HDR content being supplied to it. So this ended up getting a lot more technical than the much more fun and entertaining explanations.
Sure.
But it doesn't change the fact that even if I put that on my timeline, I'd be like, why does he look like that? Like, what exactly happened here?
And it's an iPhone? Is he using an iPhone?
I presume, based on the way that HDR looks, that would be my best guess.
You can just ask him.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we
DM
could.
him or
I'm
something.
sure I could DM him and we could get to the bottom of it, but I don't
That
think
is interesting.
I don't
though.
even think I have to because I see enough evidence here of screen captures and to provide enough insight that, okay, it was like that for a period of time.
Right.
The thing that's wild is that Instagram patched it. They were like, uh-oh, it's going to be a big deal here in a minute.
Oh, because of this.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily because of this. There probably were plenty of complaints that, hey, why am I green?
Right.
What's going on with my HDR footage? And they were probably attempting to fix whatever auto filter crap was going on there.
This is very interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, you can read the comments on our original one if you're curious, but there's a lot of people going back and forth saying there's such a thing as broadcast safe color that would have led to maybe a little bit more manipulation, but probably not the whole way. But either way, I feel like this is an Instagram issue. And if you want to go conspiracy theory, then you kind of have to look at what Instagram was doing with HDR content and people's skin and all the rest of it at that time. You have to consider it. And you can still decide where it is that you want to place blame, but it's obviously far more complex here and a much bigger conversation around our devices and our platforms and our software making decisions about how things should look or could look better as opposed to necessarily looking as accurate as possible.
It's scary when it's fully automated, where you don't have any control.
Like, what do I do with all these phones? I turn off all the processing. I turn off all the beauty modes and everything else right away.
Yeah. What if you don't have a choice for that even?
Well, on iPhone, you don't. On iPhone, you can try to tone it down, but you can never really get rid. I made a whole video about this ages ago.
Sure.